All right, so on this particular episode of the Pop Culture POV, that is Point of View, randomly Ronnie Jr., and going to be talking about a holiday movie. To me, it made sense. It was warm. Oftentimes I will critique and not even critique in a negative way, but just like what else could be done to make it bigger and better. Specifically, this movie is called Single All the Way. Obviously, we're so used to saying the terminology jingle all the way. So already right off the top, it just has a warmth to it. It's a Netflix movie. So, when you think about the holiday movies, you're like, it's easy to define, oh, that's a Hallmark Christmas movie. That's a Lifetime holiday movie. That's a Netflix winter movie or whatever. So you kind of already know what you're going to get. But specifically to me, this is just my opinion. I think Single All the Way was really fun. I do feel there's the not double-edged sword, but there's the concept of like, what do you want specifically regarding we're seeing progress at some point with it being a holiday gay rom-com for the most part. Like it's a romantic comedy and it's fantastic. And it's also knowing that more stories down the road and sooner than later for sure should be told LGBTQIA stories. And then there's the other side where it's like, well, is it good or do you just want to support? This is the kind of movie that growing up you necessarily didn't have. And I know last year and even the years before, there's been a couple Hallmark or Lifetime movies that have sort of tried to do that. And not that they were bad, but I just am going to take a moment for Single All the Way to say that I really liked it. To me, it was really something different. It was unique. It was warm and with the context of more LGBTQIA stories for sure, and also like what does that look like? Does it look like trying to have a gay storyline that matches the heteronormative ways that you would assume the holiday should be? The word that they say is always the weirdest is should. Should is like one word you should never say. And so within all that in my mind, I'm like, okay, let's watch this and let's see what we feel. And I felt I had the feelings, it's called Single All the Way. You know exactly what you're gonna get. I think it might have crossed my mind initially through like a Twitter promotion or something, like it was tweeted about, and you're like, oh, okay, this is interesting. Michael Urie, Jennifer Coolidge, Kathy Najimy, Barry Boswick. I mean, you're kind of just like, oh, this is interesting. And then you start to see as it develops, you're like, what is the story? What is the storyline? How cute is it? And I really am giving it, 5 stars if you are in the mood and the mindset of just feeling warm and comforted. If you are in the vibe of feeling like, this is just something I want to watch. I want to snuggle, in a blanket, whether you're single or you're not. If I want to have, tea or coffee or something like that, or some Baileys, and really want to get in my winter vibe, like it definitely works. Michael Urie is the lead. He plays a character named Peter. Philemon Chambers plays a character named Nick. Now, these are the two leads. I'm not going to give you the full storyline. I'm just going to give you the essence that I really liked it. And again, if you're going into it like trying to get this, riveting storyline that's, pushing envelopes or boundaries, that's not what this is going to be. This is going to make you feel good. Actually, this is Single All the Way. It is intended to be warm, and I think we all have that. Like for me, I have that part of my mindset that's like, cynical and, shut up, or kiss my ass, but then I also have the other part that is so warm and so open-hearted, and being single myself, it's like, oh gosh, love, like, I do feel like that's a cutesy vibe, and it's something that you can balance. And I think the movie really gave you that. It didn't make you feel alienated, like, oh gosh, oh my god, where's my special somebody. Like, I didn't feel that. I actually just felt really happy that the love story transpired. So the main aspect to mention, outside of, again, Michael Urie, Philemon Chambers, Barry Boswick, Kathy Najimy, Jennifer Coolidge, and Luke McFarlane as well, who's going to be on Billy Eichner's Bros, which airs in, I believe, August of 2022. outside of just even all that, it just was done very well. The basic story is that Michael Urie's character Peter, he is I guess he's like tired. He's tired, he's frustrated, he's in a dead end, he's in a rut. The only thing that makes the rut good is that his job is high powered, high paying, I assume. Long hours though, so and it's also something he doesn't believe in anymore. He's working in the worlds of like marketing, digital content, which we all know I know specifically is just like the worst. It's so not fulfilling, you know. For me, I think of like digital content as like, oh, you know, that has to be done, when in reality for the projects I work on within the world of broadcast, I care about the broadcast and the broadcast only. I don't even care if it hits the light of day on Twitter or Instagram, but you know, things do have to get promoted for people to check out the work. So anyways, I related to the concept of he is not loving his work, but it is working for him, right? Like he's making money off of it. He's happy. He can support himself, this, that, and the other. But his real love is actually plants. So, you know, I think everyone nowadays wants to be a plant daddy. So he sort of, in some levels, wants to be a plant daddy. Like that's his thing. And, you know, who does not have, you know, 5 or 6 plants or more that you talk to each and every day? You know, I believe just earlier today I was watering the plants that I have, and you know, it is a moment. So that's a cute foreshadowing of what to be seen later in the movie. But the bigger concept is that Michael Urie's character Peter, who is, you know, the lead of this movie, it's as if when he goes back, he's living in Los Angeles with his best friend. Nick is his best friend. But when he's living in his Los Angeles life, he knows that every holiday, when he goes back to, I believe it was New England, when he goes back for the holidays, his family, they actually are very warm, open, and big spirited. And they're kind of like, I can't recall what the age was, like what he was sort of proclaiming to be. I don't remember exactly how old he's supposed to be, but he feels pressure. I'm trying to find like the words. I'm trying to find like the words. He feels pressure that when he goes home, they're like, "You're single again. You're single again. You're single again." Like that really pisses him off in a loving way. So it's great because this particular year he is actually dating somebody. Now his best friend does come across a scenario where his best friend sees the guy that he's dating and finds out not only that he's married. So what do you do in that situation when your best friend is with somebody that you know, see this information? Do you tell him? Obviously he did. And then you find out he's married to a woman. So there's like a whole nother like just chaos. So the chaos lets our character, our lead Peter here, be, of course, pissed off. He's a little neurotic just in general. So something like this dropping on him at the last minute is totally going to ruin his whole holiday experience. Like on one side, he's so excited to go to New England and showcase that he's in a relationship. But now he has to go home and he's got to be single again. And there's just something about that he doesn't like. He feels, from what we see, that each and every time that he goes home, they, you know, really want him to be in love. You know, it's not like a shunning situation where when he goes home they don't talk about his love life. Like it's actually an antithesis of that. They actually talk about it a lot and normalize, you know, hey, Peter, you're home, you know, why, you know, you should bring home someone special. I mean, even focusing, you have Kathy and Jimmy, who's the meddling mother. Who better to be a meddling mother than Kathy and Jimmy? So this leaves Peter in such a situation, which is sort of the premise of the movie, that Peter now has to go home, and he sort of is alluded that he will be bringing someone special. And so his concept is, well, Nick, what are you going to be doing? And Nick, we don't know much about him. I'd love to learn more about him in the second movie, if there is a sequel, which there should be, because it doesn't sound like he's going with his own family. It actually sounds like he's very close with his, he has a dog. So maybe his vibe was like, I'm just staying in LA with the dog. Against maybe even Nick's better judgment, he's like, wait, you want me to go with you? Because Peter's like, oh, you should come with me. I'm actually going to tell them, even though they know you, I'm going to tell them we're together. So just be like a fake boyfriend, which sounds so crazy. And I think there was another movie on Netflix called Love Hard where somebody had to pretend they were a pretend something to suffice the family. Like, is that going around these days? That seems like such an odd thing. I could never be like, oh, hey, hey family, like this is so and so that I'm seeing, but like it not be real. That seems crazy to me. But it's cute for the story, right? So single all the way, you have Peter basically in this movie stating, Nick, you have to come, you have to come, you have to come. For whatever reason, he says yes. But at this stage, we get to New England. They've left LA. It's like the whole thing. It feels warmer in the sense of it's colder, but like warmer in the sense of the holiday spirit. And so they're back in New England. And at this point, and just like I said, I'm not going to break down the entire Netflix movie single all the way, but I will say right now we know from Peter and we know from Nick that they're going to stage that they're together. But it is not even a nanosecond before Peter comes home and Nick is already not really for it. I mean, he's there because he's with his friend. And so he's spending 10 days in New England with his best friend. What's the problem? But the thought to be a fake boyfriend doesn't really work for him, right? And so you're kind of watching and you're like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Well, Peter runs into his mom right away, and the mom's like, "Oh, I have somebody for you. Like I could set you up with somebody." The funny part for me was Peter saying, "Well, is there even another gay guy in the neighborhood? Like, there's no gay guys that live out here." So even right there was funny to me because when you go to suburban situations, like people go to their hometowns for the holidays, like it really is that. It's like you don't really see yourself in the neighborhood at all. But Kathy Najimy, the mom, she found a way. So what this does simply is it tells Peter, Michael Urie's character, that he should take a shot and go for the date, see what happens. He's there for 10 days. So this essentially, right when they were about to say Nick is the fake boyfriend, Nick is sort of off the hook. So basically Nick's there for 10 days doing whatever. He has his he works in publishing, or he wrote, I believe he wrote a children's book, and that's where he got the bulk of his money. But he also, for timing and just for activity, he's a task rabbit, like a thumbtack handyman. So he sort of is there and he could do whatever he wants to do, but he's off the hook as far as being a fake boyfriend to his best friend, which is already like the weirdest of things. Anyways, not to go on and on about what happens, you just know that Peter is filled with love. Everyone enjoys him being home, but it adds this weird, I mean, almost kind of like what is going to happen, but you know what's going to happen. But Peter balances, our lead, Michael Urie, balances, going out with Luke McFarlane's character, enjoying it. But then it's like that thing. You'll be around somebody. This one's a little more complicated because they're best friends and roommates in LA. But it's that thing of like when you're together for this period of time, maybe you could see things in a way you didn't expect before. And so Peter is starting to feel emotions. Nick is starting to feel emotions. In my mind, it's Peter's emotions. I sometimes worried when I watched this because I was like, well, are his emotions only based on he's in his comfort zone of being back with his hometown, being showered with love? Maybe he feels like in his LA life, it's a good life, but he doesn't have that connection with family and the warmth that he, I guess, craves. Um, so in my head, I was like, okay, I wonder what's going to happen, right? Like it's a pretty obvious story, but at the same time, you're like, is it for the right intentions? I think that's where I judged Peter a little, but at the same time, Nick too, because Nick doesn't necessarily proclaim what he wants. He's very, I guess he did well with the children's book, and he's writing another publication, and he's like very into that. But then he's very nonchalant. He's got his best friend as the dog. He's working as a handyman, the task rabbit. Like it's just very chill, which is nice a lot of times. But sometimes you have to, I suppose, shit or get off the pot and figure out what it is that you want in life. And I think I kind of took from that as well. Anyways, not to break down the entire story because the movie's cute. You should definitely watch it. But it is this concept of best friend with the other best friend, with his family there. There's somebody else in the picture. They are dating to a degree. We're going to sort of see where it goes. And then all of the concept of like a big family, the mother meddling, Barry Bostwick as the father, Harold, putting his foot into it, which is still funny and very comedic, saying the wrong things, but still like supportive, the whole deal. And then what what typically shines through so heavily online is the great Jennifer Coolidge, who, she just has this moment where she's working on, she's I believe she's Aunt, is it Aunt Sally? Aunt Sally? Yeah, something of that nature. Aunt somebody. I'm trying to find it right now. It's where is she? Her name is, yeah, Sandy. Sorry. And Aunt Sandy's character is just busy because she's working on a production, a theater production, and so she just talks about, like, how gay men have taken to her and how she really appreciates them fully and as whole human beings, which is great. Like a full layered context rather than what happens a lot of times. It's like, oh, that's the gay best friend or the gay son in some of these shows. Jennifer Coolidge's character didn't really feel that. Like Aunt Sandy, she understood it all. Actually, she understood it all so much where there is this really great scene where she's getting ready for her theater production and she's giving her speech, and then it is clocked that, okay, this is actually Madonna's speech from Truth or Dare. So there's just so many little connections that make the movie warm. I literally, when I do not necessarily recaps, but the pop culture POV, the point of view, I typically am totally fine saying something's, whatever, or needs a little work. But I think the mindset that I went into is, again, yes, there are other and more stories to tell, right? That's for sure. But this was a really great holiday gay rom-com that felt that it didn't just rely on, like, you wanted to watch it to support. It actually felt really fun. I put it on once to watch, and then I put it on a second time just in the background while I was like organizing or whatever. Maybe I was prepping for a podcast, I'm not sure, but I remember being like, oh wow, that made me laugh. Oh wow, that made me laugh. So I say that to say, in my opinion, who am I? But I am going to give my opinion. I think Single All the Way was really, really great. I love to see Michael Urie in this role. Philemon Chambers, I'm not familiar with as an actor, but I thought he did great. I would love to maybe see Single All the Way, the sleigh ride home, where we maybe do going to see his family, something of that nature, if they did a sequel, because again, we don't know much about his family, or if he comes from a big family, we don't know any of that. So it had all the potential on Netflix to have a sequel, but I'm not sure, maybe it just ends here. But if you do want to see a holiday movie with the warm-hearted energy, Single All the Way for me was, I mean, not like 5 stars, like I'm critiquing it like it's a great film of our time, but like if you want to feel good and happy and warm, like shit, like check it, it's great. um Cute little romantic moments too, within the job that Peter, which is Michael Urie, the job that he has to it's like marketing digital content and all that, but there's some really cute and warm moments with sort of like the like almost like a snowman, or using the snow but as a beard, so the like your beard is made of snow, and there's like a product, like a shaving cream product rather, that you have to take digital content. And I think it was that moment that Peter, our lead, decides who really caught his eye. No way to catch your eye than when you're taking digital content and you're like, wow, this picture looks good. Wow, I like this picture. Wow, I really love this picture. Am I in love? It's like we've all sort of been there in certain avenues. So it just was so great. I hope that it does really well on Netflix. I've seen many a times where it was rated really high. The hard thing with Netflix is they're always doing different shows and movies all the time. So hopefully Single All the Way stays in the mix, stays high rated, and gets a lot of attention because it was good for everybody. Jennifer Coolidge is, in my opinion, on Twitter, there's tons of tweets and memes about some of the stuff from this cute little movie. So my hope is that people don't just look at the tweet and the meme, because that's what a lot of people do. They like know a tweet, they know a meme out of context, but they won't watch the movie. It's like the silliest of things to me. My thing is, like, if I see a tweet or I see a meme that's interesting, I'd want to go watch it. So my encouragement is for you to watch it because it was really great. That is it. That is the pop culture POV point of view. If you want to support Obviously, the website is called randomlyronniejr.com. If you like the review, do your own review. But also go to patreon.com/randomlyronniejr, patreon.com /randomlyronniejr. The basis of that is that tons of the other stuff is available free of charge. So the Patreon is a way to sort of support the production costs, let's say, like, to get this thing done and for you to get an episode like this. Well, that was it. Pop Culture POV. I will talk to you on the next one, hopefully single all the way, a sleigh ride home. And hopefully they write in give me a walk-on role as like the podcast host or something, right? Like I deserve it. Totally. Okay, bye.